Welcome back to Working Yard with Will. Chip and Green update. We have had a not too bad winter here in Zone 7A. We've had 2 heavy snows, and you see a lot of green out there coming in from the grass that we have growing. Remember, in the Chip and Green in the middle, we have a Bermuda grass in the middle, which still has a lot of sand and a lot of topsoil to fill in. On the outside, there's a good combination of Kentucky bluegrass, rye, and tall fescue. So I'm hopeful that once winter breaks and we get into spring and we get some stuff moving along here, all this area is going to fill in nicely, and I can break out the Greensmore, the John Deere 228 that's sitting in the garage, and I need to continue to work on it to get it ready for the season. So stay tuned. Working Yard with Will, Chip and Green. Started the cut back here with the mower. I was cutting it pretty high. First couple of weeks of learning how to use a mower, I was cutting it in an inch, half inch, and today I went in about 3/16 of an inch, which essentially is not quite scalping it, but it's pretty close. And I'll show you how much material came up out of there. So quite a bit of material came off of there. And so stay tuned. Working the Yard with Will. This Chip and Green is definitely coming alive. Now it's just a matter of maintaining this shape and watering it, and of course getting everything to kind of fill in. All right, welcome back to Working the Yard with Will. So I just got back from making my little run to the nursery and the hardware store, and I picked up a few items. Let's just flip this thing around and show you what I got going on. So what I got here is, you see it as a pitchfork, and the whole idea behind the pitchfork is to go around in the areas where I had poor germination and to add these holes to the ground. I didn't want to core aerate. I wanted to tine aerate by creating holes and getting some sand in there, and hopefully that'll promote some more growth for me. So I plan on working that up into the bare spot areas and seeing if that works. My other finds for the day were, of course, soil conditioner. I'm using paper sand. It's not ideal what you want to use, but it's what I have available to. Just getting started, but you know, not too bad. It's very holy over here. I think next time I'll rent a machine if I can find one. Like I said, I'm not trying to do any core aeration. I'm trying to do tine or aerification, as sometimes referred to on the golf course. So stay tuned. So I got 3 buckets here. I just actually mixed this as a combination of soil conditioner there and some paper sand, and I'm gonna use this to go around the edges of the Chip and Green to help start filling in and making some repairs. I said mix that up. I'm gonna mix this one up, and then for now fill in the uneven areas, and then after that get some dry sand and for the entire Chip and Green, or at least the putting area with frost blanket. And I'll tell you why. A couple reasons. Hopefully you can see that water running off of here and running down the hill. The last couple times I've tried to make small adjustments to the Chip and Green, every time I did it, when it rained heavily, which we're expecting this afternoon and evening, it washed out all of my hard leveling work. So in an effort to prevent that, I put the frost blanket down. Also, to help aid in the germination, this is Bermuda grass. Bermuda grass wants it hot. Today is just a nice day, 60, 65 degrees. But guess what? By the end of the week, it's gonna go back down to 25 degrees. So whatever germination success I have here, I don't wanna lose it. Thirdly, I'm also going to start doing my pre-emergent, and this is in a different stage. This area I have fertilizer down, new grass seed, sand, topsoil mixture. So I don't want to get any pre-emergent over here on this, because it'll slow down, if not kill, my grass seed. So those are the three reasons. One, to help me when this heavy rain comes this afternoon, this evening, see how the water just kind of rolling off of it. Water can still go through it and penetrate and keep the ground moist. Two, it'll help with the germination process, keeping the heat in, because we're expecting some cold temperatures at the end of this week, back into the 20s. So I'm just going to leave it on here. Maybe after that I'll take it off. It'll give it a good week or so to germinate. And thirdly, I'm going to do a pre-emergent on the rest of the yard, and I don't want my newly seeded chipping green to having that pre-emergent stuff on there. So stay tuned. Working in your yard with Will. Off here on the chipping green, and I think we've made some pretty good progress. Decided to cover up the chipping green because we were expecting some inclement weather here in zone 7A, which we got about a day after I decided to throw down seed and to poke holes in here, do some aerating around some of the edges. And if you can see there, it definitely came in. I still have one area here where the water was washing out. It didn't wash out nearly as bad, and I see the seeds in there coming up. So I'm gonna give that a few more days, and I think we're gonna have some progress here. So in areas where you see it there, and a little bit there, and there, and here, those are areas where I added more seeds. Still had to go through and pull out a little clump, but that's all right. There's just some undesirable grasses that I don't want in there.
All right, so here you go. I got the Scott's real mower out, trying to start cutting the collar, which is about 1.5 inches, or excuse me, I should say the first cut. And then from there, I grabbed the real mower and try to cut the fringe, or I'm sorry, the collar, fringe or collar, aka, down to about 1/2 inch, and then off the actual playing surface down to about, I think it was 3/16 of an inch, a little less. Here I'm adjusting the more height down to cut that playing surface. So
All right, welcome back to Working the Yard with Will. A busy afternoon here on the chipping green. So I decided to cut the green down. I tried to incorporate a couple different things. From that yellow line back is an apron, if you will. From this yellow line to here to the great faint gray line is the collar. And then from the collar in is the actual green. I went ahead and cut it down, those 3 different levels, and I figured out the middle section, which is cut at about a little less than 3/16 of an inch. Is probably too short for this Bermuda grass. So I scalped it, more or less. That's where I'm at. I scalped it down. So what I ended up doing was adding more seed, sand, rolled it, and now I'm gonna lightly water it down a little bit and let it go from there. So I'm thinking I may have to back things up a little bit, meaning the outside apron, which I have at 1 inch, I'm gonna have to take it out to 1.5 inches. The collar, I'll bring it down to 1 inch, and the actual green itself, I'll bring it down to about 1/2 inch. It's a little fuzzy for a putting green, but for a chipping green, I think it'll work out just fine. So stay tuned. Working your yard with Will. Hopefully you guys can see this and not just my shadow, and it's making sense out here. Out here at the chipping green, I guess it's been about 3 or 4 days since I do that last post saying I scalped my chipping green because I went too low. So essentially my ideal now is to keep the chipping green at the same height of just a little less than 1/2 inch, and then I'll do the collar probably about 1 inch, 1.5 inches. So believe it or not, after I did the repairs to the chipping green, the next day we got a 6-hour rainstorm and it washed out all my work. So I'm thinking the chipping green is probably either going to expand because all this area below it is going to be Bermuda grass since it washed this way, or B, I'll just continue to cut it and to keep things going. So stay tuned, working yard with Will. As you see, it's already starting to fill back in. That nice heavy rain really helped out to get me going back in the right direction. So stay tuned, working yard with Will, chipping green. All right, so just gave the chipping green a little bit of a water. Still not cutting it. I'm trying to let the grass grow in around it. Still have those little bald spot areas or thin areas there, but the grass is definitely coming in or coming up. Could say. If you get closer, you can start seeing all the little blades of grass starting to come in. So just got to be a bit more patient. Let it fill in, and then remember, I can't cut it that low in this area. So it's coming in slowly but surely, and it's cold too, so it's definitely going to take some time. So stay tuned. Working the yard with Will. It's getting there, getting there.